of the Personal Trainers Who Care podcast. Today I have Oona and Chiara with me, two of our newest Glebe location trainers. How are you guys doing?
Very nice.
Fantastic.
Yeah, good. So yeah, today I just wanted to talk about kind of like training for females and some of the mistakes that people make. For you guys, when you started on your journey, what were some of the biggest mistakes you guys made that you still see people making today?
Well, it depends on what's the goal. Let's say if we're talking about my story, I wanted to build muscle mass, and I did way too much cardio exercises. It made me lose my muscle mass because I moved too much. I didn't rest enough. That's one thing I did a lot.
Burning too many calories.
Exactly.
And not replenishing them enough. I think that sort of goes hand in hand. Like so much cardio so that the calories that you're taking in aren't going towards repairing the muscle that you're trying to build, but rather just trying to give you the energy to get through the day. I guess it depends on what your goal is too, but with building muscle, typically a slight caloric surplus will get you towards building the muscle and prioritizing protein intake.
Yeah.
So,
I think overtraining is very much of a mistake too. Sometimes we do. We tend to just, that's the goal, and we just train.
Yeah.
You want to be motivated and disciplined, but you need to rest to recover, you know?
Yeah. For myself too, I was burning the candle at both ends. I was in school, I was working, and then I was also working out super hard. I tried to keep training intensity high, but then if the recovery isn't able to match that, then you're just going to be
balance,
burning yourself out, exhausted, and then all of the work that you're working so hard in the gym, and then you're not getting the rest that you need, so you're just spinning your wheels to no end. So that rest component is super important.
Yeah.
And I realize as well, it depends, at first it's good to start off with basic, exercises, focus on form, not too much of free weight. And eventually, I would say the main thing that's the best to build the lower body and the upper body is compound exercises.
Yeah.
Eventually,
do girls do upper body? We only do lower, right?
Of course.
No
upper body here, guys.
Upper body.
Not at all.
I love doing upper body.
I actually wrote that down. Not training upper body.
Yeah.
Not good.
Yes.
Not good.
No, we're more than just a butt and legs.
Exactly.
You want to be able to carry your groceries in one
You
trip.
want to be proportioned.
Yes.
You want to, because if you want to be able to have a good hand grip when you grip that barbell and you do those squats, not those squats, but those Romanian deadlifts, you need to have a good strong lateral muscles and lower back muscles as well, so it's good to do the upper back as well.
So true. And it just looks awesome. If you already, if that's what's something that works for you, you want to look really good, have a nice back, have a nice upper body. That's really awesome. But just the functional gains that you get from that too, you want to be able to hold that dumbbell, like Oona said. You want to be able to hold that barbell, whatever.
What were some sort of real world benefits you guys saw once you guys started getting stronger?
Oh, I noticed if I don't have some sort of carry in my program, like a farmer carry or a suitcase carry, I notice it when I'm carrying groceries. I really notice it. Just at work too,
but it's
being able to move things around. Sorry, I also work in the service industry, so it's pretty physical there. Holding stuff. Oh my god, I get so fatigued if I don't have the proper volume in my upper body volume in my program.
When I started my upper body, journey, I would always just do the legs. That's a mistake I did when I was younger.
Huge,
but I started doing my upper body. I wasn't sure what I was doing. At first, I did a lot of cable machines. I think it's a good way to start off, cable machines, when you want to build your upper body. But I'd say the best exercise eventually to progress, it would be TRX rows, and then assisted pull-ups, neutral hand grip, because this hand grip is very difficult, and just work on understanding how to drop those lats down and contracting up.
Yeah, developing that mind to muscle connection. I think that's another huge mistake that I made when I was a kid, or like when I was younger. Sort of rushing through the rep, just getting it done, not really worrying about form. I think that there's another side of it too, where you can get far too obsessive, and then you just don't end up finishing the workout. But like getting some movement in, but also being mindful of the fact that like you're targeting the muscle that you want to target, right? Like it'll be so much more effective, and your muscle gains will absolutely skyrocket once you're more intentional about the reps that you're doing.
One thing I would do is I would be afraid to miss out like on my protein intake. Like I would just overeat.
So true.
It would.
So you went from undereating to overeating?
Overeating, yeah.
Like I was like the beginning undereating, and then when I started like, you know, around like my 20, 19 years old, around that age, I was like, okay, now I know a little bit more. Now let me try. You know, I was like trying to get into that phase of like progressing overload, and you know, and I was like, oh no, like I have to eat a lot of protein.
Yeah.
I was like obsessing, like you said.
So true.
And I would just overeat. Sometimes it would be like midnight, and I would be like, oh, I didn't
get enough today.
Exactly.
So true. And the thing with that is too, like when you become so obsessed with getting enough protein and getting enough food in general, though it is important to see results, like you can be working so hard in the gym, and if your diet is not up to par, like you're not going to see the results that you want. Especially with social media today, we've become distracted from like why we're doing this. Like, is it for myself? Is it for my health? Is it for to move better? Or is it to just be better in the gym, just to lift a little bit more weight or to look a certain way? Like, I think it's like we need a reorganization of our priorities and what is most important to us. What I found was a really powerful switch for me is moving away from how movement and how weightlifting would make me look, and moving towards performance in the gym. Prioritizing like, okay, progressive overload, like can I get one more rep this week? Let's see, like what's my strength like? Let's try for that one more rep. Let's perfect my technique this week. When you really start to focus on performance and feeling better, the looking better just naturally comes. And I think that's a big problem that a lot of women struggle with too. Like I see a lack of intensity in a lot of ways because they're too afraid, or like they'll say like, oh, I don't want to get bulky. I'm
scared of looking.
I'm scared.
Yeah.
Like, do you know how long it takes to look bulky? Like you need to push to get the body that you want and the performance that you want. If you're not pushing, your body's just going to be like, I don't need to build more muscle to do this because I can accomplish this task just fine, right? Like your muscles grow because it can't do something. It fails at doing something, because then it thinks, okay, let's grow more of this so we can accomplish this task next time.
So Oona, going back to when you said you had moved from eating too little to eating too much, like how did you know you were eating too much protein and overdoing it?
I felt just tired. Like my body was just too tired, and you know that feeling like when you eat too much, you just feel like vomiting. Sluggish. You feel like not vomiting, but it's like you feel bloated. You know, you're supposed to eat when you feel full and not bloated. But like sometimes I would do that often, you know, back then, and that's when I noticed like I didn't feel good.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
And I started reading books, and I started like, you know, I take the CPT course, and I got to learn a lot of things in time. Trial and error.
Yeah, it's funny because whether you eat too little or too much, sometimes the negative effects are the same. Feeling tired in general is usually a good sign that something is off.
Yeah.
And you need to kind of figure out, okay, what am I doing wrong, or what should I be doing better so that I'm not tired.
So
and I find
true.
that people tend to ignore fatigue.
So
Too
true.
much.
Oh my god, I remember
It's the
distinctly
main thing.
a time I was like so exhausted. Like I remember feeling like I absolutely can't go to the gym today, and then I had that little voice that was like, no, like you just got pushed through it, like no pain, no
Yeah.
gain,
Oh
do
my
it.
God.
And then I went to the gym, and I ended up feeling okay when I went to the gym. Like I remember I ended up feeling good when I was actually doing the workout. But looking back, I was like, it would have been so much better if I just rested. Like that was definitely a signal. My body was telling me like have a nap.
And then you can lift heavier.
The next day,
Yeah.
like just take that time. It's like take one step back to take 2 steps forward. That's the way I see it. Like,
But mainly
Rest.
that's like really like if you want to put on muscle and build that muscle, it's like that rest is really needed.
It's tough though.
It is
'cause
so
for young women, you know, you may be going to school, maybe you're working as well, and then you have to like, you know, think about exercise
on top of it. Yeah.
and then, you know, let alone whatever personal
Yeah.
relationships that you may have going on that
Definitely.
sometimes, you know, adds in drama and stress.
Yeah, so true. And then it's also like, okay, how much volume should I be putting in if I'm so exhausted from my daily life? I don't even know if I have the energy to exercise. So sometimes it's like, could this be good for me? So it is a bit of a trial and error game too. Like, just try and fail. That's like a
how
good
you learn.
thing. Yeah, you learn. Like, just see what works for you. See how hard you can push. See what's right for you. Don't be afraid to fail. I think that's a huge thing.
Yeah. But when you do fail, don't give up. Like,
Yes.
Yeah.
use it as
Fuel for
a
the next
clue
time.
to be like, okay, maybe I need to try something else.
Regress a little
Yeah.
bit. Yeah.
Write
so
down all your exercises.
true. Tracking. That's a big one.
Tracking, just writing down your routine, repeating those same exercises for the lower body and upper body. And as soon as it starts being easy, the form is perfect, film yourself, and then you can add on more. Because, you know, sometimes at one point you hit a constant like place where you just feel like you're not progressing, and that's why it's good to keep track and write down what the exercise.
So true.
Yeah.
So true. Yeah.
How long did it take you guys before you guys started tracking?
Honestly, 2 years ago I started doing that,
Yeah.
and I started seeing a difference.
Yeah.
Really
How long were you working out without tracking before that?
like I started at 15, like, and between 15 and 19, that's when I was like not doing it. That's when I was like overeating, and at the beginning I was not eating enough because I was going to high school when I was younger, and then it's like a roller coaster.
Yes.
Before. So yeah.
Yeah, I was actually pretty lucky to figure that out pretty early. But I think there was a lag time of maybe a year or something like that where I was like, you know what, no, I need to start. Because once I started to create a routine, I was like, hey, I have no idea how much I did last week. I don't even know where to go. And so it sort of started as like I have no idea what I did. I need to know what I'm doing. But then it became more specific, like, okay, how many reps did I get? How did it feel? Did it hurt? Did one side fail earlier than the other? Or just like getting details too. I think that was really interesting, learning more about my body, because a lot of people, like, if you're not thinking about it and if you're not keeping track, you're not aware and you don't know what to do for next time. You might repeat the same thing and then not learn from your mistakes because you're not thinking about it. So I think those added details can really give you a lot of insight into your body, what feels good, what doesn't feel good, what might feel right.
You know, I joked about it earlier, but one thing that a lot of women want is to build a bigger glute and legs. And you see all these TikTok and Instagram videos, and they basically say the same thing now. You know, there's like 4 or 5 main exercises that help you build a bigger butt.
Yeah.
But that doesn't necessarily mean that, one is better than the other. And again, it's all dependent on the person, right? So if you're not keeping track of what exercises you're doing, what feels good, like a hip thrust might be better for one person compared to another who may see more results from doing heavy squats, for instance, right? So if you're not taking the time to focus on one or two exercises and getting stronger in those, then you don't really know where the results are coming from. You're just kind of like wasting your time when you don't necessarily have to.
So
People
true.
just tend to, sometimes because they're stressed and they enter the public gym, they go straight up to the machine that's like cardio. But it's like, I completely understand, because like I was so stressed when I entered at first the gym, and I was like, oh no, like what should I do first? Then I didn't know what to do. I went in the treadmill, and then I was like thinking about the next exercise. But it's like, it's sad that we have to stress like that when we enter the gym, when we start. That's why it's good to plan.
So true.
So
Go
then
with a plan.
When you have a plan, like on your phone, just okay, let's start with this. I'm not gonna enter with stress.
Yeah. Removing the guesswork and like going into it.
So Chiara, what were your first few times entering a gym like? Did you struggle with the intimidation as well?
A little bit. I've thought about that a lot, because I remember looking back and I don't remember that being a huge part of my journey. I do remember feeling it, but just like overriding it, honestly, like I deserve to be here just as much as anyone else does, and I pay the same amount. And like just starting out, like even if you are afraid, like okay, maybe like it's like exposure therapy. Like just start in the corner, maybe pick a corner and pick some dumbbells up because they're easy to use for so many different exercises. Start there and then slowly like move your way through the gym and say like, and again going back to like going in with a plan, like
Maybe just
I remember
walk
I would
through the gym before, like
when I was afraid, I would just like stay kind of on the turf area. I mean, it depends on what your gym looks like, but I would stay on the turf and I would do like all my exercises there, and then I would move to the benches and I would explore there too. And also choosing the time that you go can help you out if you have a little bit of gym anxiety. Like 5-6 o'clock, absolute nightmare fuel. But I think, there's a lot of things that you can go, like avenues you can use to get around that gym anxiety. But
you have to start somewhere.
You have to believe in yourself and just have a little mantra. Like, remember every single time you go in, like, I deserve to be here. Have a plan, and you can remove that guesswork. Because I think a lot of people are afraid of, like, walking around aimlessly and not knowing what they're doing. Like, sort of, I remember feeling like that, like, I hate going in without a plan and, like, sort of, like, standing there being like,
you don't want someone,
next?
sometimes it's like, I would train and then someone would look at me and I would feel uncomfortable because I knew I didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah, exactly.
I was like, how does this machine work? And then I would stay stuck. And I would be like, yes, let me replace myself. And then like, people will look, and I didn't like that feeling. It's not a good feeling. I get it. But that's why planning and, sticking to the same simple things. And you have to, at one point, you have to, slowly, like, get used to people looking at you. Like, people they will always look, and we just have to get used to it. Yeah, it is what it is. True. But that's how you're going to beat that anxiety. You have to go through it and not beside it.
Don't be afraid to fail. Don't be afraid to fail. The amount of times I've done such stupid things, embarrassing things, like dropping things or failing.
I fell on the treadmill.
Oh my god. I think I've done that too. Or like phone goes flying, drop it goes flying behind you.
When we had the headphone, I placed it on like my pants and my phone fell, and then I was like, oh no, and then the wire they fell on my feet, and then it got stuck, and then I fell.
Oh no.
And it was at around like 5-ish. It was pretty
time. So it was like
it was pretty busy. Yeah, it was embarrassing.
But you survived.
You survived.
Yes.
You all survived. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Forever scarred, but alive.
Yeah. Everybody just wants things to happen immediately as well, right?
Patience.
So it's just patience. Take your time. Go slow and, you know, build over time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think give yourself a good 3 months. Give yourself a good 3 months, and you'll really see some good.
Yeah.
You can see results sooner than that. But I always felt like if I changed something in my routine, around 3 months is when I really started to see like results from it. So don't give up. Don't give up too soon. Just keep going. I think the whole point, the long game with weightlifting is start. And don't ever stop. Like, even if you, for some reason, can only get in 10, 15 minutes that day, just do it for the purposes of getting that pathway in your head. Like, I am someone who exercises.
Yeah.
I am, like, this is part of my routine. This is my lifestyle. It's not something that you just do and then give up and then do and then give up, right? Because some people go through those cycles. They'll lose weight and they're like, ooh, I'm there. And then they give up and then they gain the weight back.
If I can compare to now, I started focusing on more portions and you know, always trying to progress in my exercises, but being conscious, keeping the small, simple exercises, and my legs grew very quickly in 2 years when I started doing that. And I added.
Notice how she said very quickly in 2 years.
Yeah, well, it's very quickly in 2 years. Yeah, well, it's like I could see.
But yeah, that's the time frame you should
Yeah.
have.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah, so long.
So yeah, just recap. Keep things simple. Have a plan. Track your progress.
Yeah.
Have a long-term outlook.
Yeah.
And just start. Well, thanks again for joining me. Oona
Thank
and
you.
Chiara.
It
Yes.
was nice. This is very fun.
Hopefully we helped some young ladies out there who are just getting started. Hopefully you guys don't make the same mistakes we did.
Yeah.
Yes.
But it's okay.
Learn from our
If you
mistakes.
do,
But even
just
if you do.
keep going. Yeah.
It happens. You learn, you grow.
Yep.
Exactly.
So true.
Yeah.
Trial and error.
But yeah, if any of you would like more help, you can check us out. We have a great introductory offer, 8 sessions for $96. And yeah, you can see Oona and Chiara here in the glebe.
Yeah.
All right, thanks again. I'll see you in the next one.
Bye-bye.
Bye.